Hello, my name is Saima Mir. I am the author of The Khan. The Khan is the story of the reluctant daughter of a criminal kingpin called Jia Khan. Jia Khan is a London barrister. She lives a very glamorous lifestyle but has been estranged from her family for a long time. When she goes home for her sister's wedding, her brother is kidnapped and her father is killed, and she finds herself drawn back into the criminal fraternity that she's tried to distance herself from for a long time. It's set in the north of England. It's about patriarchy, it's about power, it's about the rooms in which women find ourselves when we're trying to navigate life and love and family and power. It's very much a labour of love for me. It's about a strong Muslim woman, and I think it has quite a few twists and surprises, and it might kind of smash some stereotypes and some ideas. It's out on the 1st of April. I do hope you enjoy it. I'd also like to share with you some of the books that have inspired me, some books that are quite close to my heart. The first one that I'd like to tell you about is a book called Women Who Wear the Breeches. It's by Shelfie, and it's a book I've had for a long time, since I was a teenager, and it used to be on my bedroom shelf when I lived at my parents' house. It's a book of feminist fairy stories, and I'd sort of forgotten about it until very recently when I started to think about all the books that influenced me and the books I used to read. It's got lots of twists, so it's got beautifully written fairy stories, but with women who maybe don't need rescuing and women who do the rescuing. I totally recommend this one. The other book I'd like to tell you about is a book that I absolutely fell in love with when I read it when I was in my 20s, and it's The God of Small Things when it came out, and it won the Booker Prize that year. It's so beautifully written. Every word in it is so measured and so succinct, and it just conveys such emotion so well. For me, it was the first time I'd read a book by a South Asian author of this kind, and I absolutely fell in love with it, and it has stayed with me, and passages of it I still return to every now and then to have a look at and sort of recapture that feeling of reading something so immense. It's absolutely wonderful. The God of Small Things. The other book the books that I sort of wanted to mention are writings by Malcolm X, which is what I used to read a lot of as a teenager, and I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and more recently I got hold of this one, which is called The Dead Are Rising. So I used to read a lot of speeches by Malcolm X, and I used to love the rhythm of his language, the way he conveyed such emotion. I love the authenticity of his tone, and even though they were speeches, I love the way they looked on the page. There's something to me about stories about men who change and who evolve and start out as one thing and end up as another. And I also love the idea of people who are trying to be disruptors or who are disruptors being misunderstood. There's some great stories about him that are sort of being unpicked now after the Black Lives Movement, around how he was demonised, but actually what he was saying and why it was so important, and why it is still so relevant to us today.